very important for you as a teacher or for you as a parent or as an educator or anybody interested to ask yourself, is my child developing this skill alongside the knowledge that they're gathering from school? Knowledge is what is 1 plus 1, what is 2 plus 2, what is the circumference of a circle. All this is knowledge. But the competence is the thing that the CBC has introduced to this particular curriculum is competencies. And the competencies that the curriculum offers are 7 in total. And the first one is communication, and collaboration. So when we talk about communication and collaboration, what are we saying? We're saying, have I as a parent, have I as a teacher equipped my learner or my child with skills that will enable them to speak, to listen, to receive information, and to give information? That's what communication is all about, right? It's all about giving the child an opportunity to learn how to express themselves, to be able to receive information as well, and at the same time, not just in speech, but also in nonverbal cues. And those are the indicators that a child has developed this competency that we call communication. And when you go through the curriculum design, you note that a lot of the conversation is about presentations. So this child is told, present on, for example, in social studies, you can be told, present on the physical features of Kenya. You're giving a child an opportunity to speak in front of a crowd, in front of their peers, to talk about what are the physical features of our county, what are the physical features of our country, for example. So all this culminates to communication, and that's how it's tested. Is my child able to communicate? Is my child able to listen and take instruction? That's how communication is being tested on the CBC curriculum. Now, on collaboration is about working well with others. So it's about, is my child able to take up a presentation, for example, with their friends, and you can be able to gauge and see these children really work together to create this. They work together to build a small garden. They work together. That working together is what we're looking at as a competency in the curriculum that we know as CBC. So it's very important for you as a teacher or for you as a parent or as an educator or anybody interested to ask yourself, is my child developing this skill alongside the knowledge that they're gathering from school? And you know that most of us, we're very good we can be able to say, we can be able to regurgitate what we've learned, but are we able to communicate? Are we good communicators? Are we able to give speeches? Are we able to talk in front of a crowd? Are we able, and not just because that's the only thing that we can do, but are you able to express yourself through word, through language, through nonverbal cues? There are so many ways that communication works. And so that's one of the key competencies that the curriculum has to offer. Now, that's the one that a lot of people know. And then there's a second one. And that is, the second competency is actually called critical thinking and problem solving. In a nutshell, it's just thinking outside the box, for example. It's like, am I able to receive information and transcend beyond just giving it out as memory? So I will give a very good example that we use, and it's word problems. I'm sure most of you as parents, you've seen word problems. So in our time, my exam paper used to be, what is 2 times 3? And you had to cram the multiplication table. If you're here and you went to a Kenyan school and you do not know the multiplication table by heart, then your teacher must have, ulikuwa unasoma kwa dirisha. The multiplication table used to be the thing. Everyone, 1 times 2, 2 times 2, 3 times 2, like that. But now, what the curriculum has introduced is what we call word problems. So you ask a child, if I give you 2 apples, for example, and I ask you to distribute these apples to 2 of your friends, how many apples will each child get? That child has to go back to their memory, convert that information and ask themselves, what exactly is this question asking me? And if you are smart or if you're quick to note, they're looking at division. isn't it? It's 2 children, 2 apples within 2 children. So how many will each get? So that critical thinking is what the curriculum has introduced to build up on the essence of knowledge being used to solve problems and not just knowledge for memorization. So you'll find that these children are supposed to be, you'll find that a child has been given a project, go home and create a small structure or a small idea that will help clean up dirty water. That is most parents who know about the grade 3 assignment, it must have been given to you. So it's about now asking children, with the knowledge that you've gotten, are you able to now build up on that knowledge and solve problems? So here is where we're looking at, for example, if your child is going through like coding, are they able to build games? Are they able to build webs? Are they able to do so many other things? And so that's where now the critical thinking comes in. And those are the questions you should be asking yourself as a parent or as a teacher. Am I creating knowledge to this? Am I giving knowledge to these children, or am I transcending and building them up to a higher order to enable them to think critically about that knowledge? So we are here, we've looked at the 2 competencies, we've looked at communication and collaboration, we've looked at critical thinking and problem solving, and now we're going to look at the 3rd competency, which is creativity and imagination. So this is pretty much what she said earlier. It's actually just thinking out the box. It's about giving a child an opportunity to present their knowledge or what they have learned in more ways than one. So it's about just giving children a chance to use. It's not just art and craft. It's about operating on a different realm of how we used to teach and learn. So kitambo si tulikuwa tunaambiwa, andika answer. But now you can tell a child, draw something. Go outside, get some mud, create a model. Like now, the NEC exam has actually given a model of if I'm not wrong, it is the digestive system or the circulatory system, one of the two. So this child is going to learn about the circulatory system, but they're going to be able to build from it. They can be able to take a bit of mud, they can use a manila paper, and that creativity makes knowledge more permanent, if I may put it like that. But creativity also enhances talent, because now children are able to color more, they're more able to paint more. There's a lot of artwork. They've reintroduced a lot of creative activities in this particular curriculum. So when you look at an imagination, writing, some of us used to write stories for days, lies and lies, but it was all about imagination. So imagination is actually one of the pinnacles of childhood, where a child is supposed to imagine things that don't even exist, or they do, but just having that opportunity to express yourself in more ways than one is what creativity and imagination is about. So ask your child questions like, how was your day? What did you do? Not just homework ulipewa gani leo. Let's talk about, can you draw what you learned in school? Can you write for me a poem or a story, or write a letter to your friend, at whatever level and whatever capacity they write it at? That's how you build on creativity and imagination. Let them create scenarios in their heads about things that they think about. Like, imagine you are 100 years old and tell us what you'll be doing then. Or imagine a world where 10-year-old is a president. Such questions are what will build on your creativity and your imagination. Now, when we look at creativity and imagination, the next competency is called learning to learn. Learning to learn is all about building curiosity, and curiosity is a foundation of knowledge. It's making sure that children are asking the right questions, not just the right questions, but they're actually just asking questions, that they're curious. Curiosity, we were told curiosity killed the cat, but in this place, let us look at curiosity as a beautiful thing, because it is the foundation of all those other competencies that we've talked about. Learning to learn means that you give the child an opportunity to want to acquire knowledge, to want to acquire skills beyond the fear, beyond the fear of the assessment. Because most of us, we used to study because we used to know that there's an exam at the end of the term. So we are studying because, I just need to cram the digestive system because at the end of the term I need to get an A, or I need to cram the multiplication table because at the end of the term I need to get a 50, or my teacher is going to beat me, or whatever reason, that whatever consequence was happening in your school. But now we're trying to build up a competency where children are naturally curious and they want to understand concepts, they want to apply those concepts, they want to ask the questions that will build them up and become the building blocks of knowledge. So learning to learn is another competency that has been brought up by the competency-based education. So our fifth competency is digital literacy. And digital literacy is simply manipulation of digital devices. How to use digital devices to our advantage. And a digital device can be anything. It doesn't just have to be a laptop. It can be a phone. It can be a projector. Any digital, whatever you have in the house or at school or whatever area you're in, digital literacy is learning to manipulate that digital device to acquire knowledge or to develop a particular skill. So for example, you might go to, your school could have just a projector. Some schools, the children are using laptops. Some schools could have a computer lab. Some children are able to use the robotics tools. All these are digital devices. A phone, even the simplest kabambe phone, is still a digital device. So it's that ability for a child to manipulate that which is available to them to be able to understand or to build on their knowledge and skills. So digital literacy is very hot right now because we're in the age of AI, we're in the age of cybersecurity, we're in the age of all these conversations around the internet, the web, the apps, everything. So digital literacy is very far and wide, and you don't have to feel as though your child is behind. The most important competence for me, I believe, should be that the child should be able to learn how to use these devices well and safely. So as a parent, is your child using the device to get knowledge that they need, or are they constantly doom scrolling on YouTube or using it to just play games? There are so many things that a child can be able to develop from digital literacy. For example, in Kenya, one of the apps that we use is called OPIC. So OPIC, which I'll link down below, has a lot of resources on books that the children can read. There's eKitabu. There are so many people who have curated websites and also apps that children can be able to use to build on their literacy skills, their numeracy skills. And right now, as we speak, there is a whole AI academy that is being built by the Khan Academy that will enable children to have their own personal tutor using AI. So we can actually be able to use digital devices to be able to build on our skills and our knowledge. And so that ability for the child to be able to manipulate that digital device is what we call digital literacy. The other competency that I want us to talk about is called self-efficacy. So here, it is allowing a child to build up on their own routines and to be confident in their own abilities. That means what we call intrinsic, ni kitu ya ndani, si kitu ambayo it has come from the outside. It's something that the child is building up on themselves to be able to understand their own capabilities, their own limitations, and to strive towards goals based on their own journey. So you find that self-efficacy looks at the confidence a child has to be able to build up on their own knowledge, the confidence to develop skills. So let me give a very good example. One of the most popular things right now is football. A child in my school, for example, will tell me, I want to become a football player. You ask them, you are very capable. You tell them, yes, you're very capable of that. What can you do to build up on that? So you'll find this child is probably waking up slightly earlier to run around, to do some skills, to be able to dribble, to be able to run around, to go cross country. That is the idea behind self-efficacy. It's that ability for a child to develop their confidence because of us parents and because of us educators, and then telling that child to push their limit beyond what is expected. Now, there's a very interesting guy, a Greek philosopher was called Pygmalion, and Pygmalion built a statue. And when he built this statue, it was dead, but Pygmalion would wake up every morning. It is a myth. Please take note, it's a myth. And he would wake up every morning and he would touch that and he'd tell you, you're beautiful, and you're so wonderful. And the myth is that because of the constant reassurance and the constant belief that this was a beautiful, live thing, the statue actually came to life. And that Pygmalion effect is actually what guides the self-efficacy competence. It's that that confidence that you build in your child, that confidence that you build in your learner, to make them believe that they are able to do something, and giving them the reinforcement, the encouragement, the tools that they need to be able to succeed. And when the child understands that they are surrounded and they are loved and they're encouraged, then you find that they blossom beyond and above what you would expect. And so you'll find that a child who's told, you know what, you can get a 90%, keep at it. This child will probably come home. Even after homework, they're doing a few more questions because they're like, oh yeah, my teacher told me I can be able to get 90%. And when they do, the encouragement, you clap for them, you give them gifts, you take them for trips. That's what self-efficacy is about. And that's something that was really lacking in our 844 system, because a lot of it was, you just have to pass your exams. But here now, children are able to build up on other skills. My child has been developing an interest in photography. Wow. Let me get them a small camera. Go take some pictures. And when they come back, you're like, wow, this is beautiful. This is a very nice picture you took. And that child starts realizing, oh, kumbe I can do some more and I can do some more. And that's the competency around self-efficacy. So when you talk about self-efficacy, think about it as a parent and ask yourself, am I building confidence around my child? And am I identifying talents and skills and gifts that my child has that can enable them to become better and even way beyond my wildest dreams and my expectations? And the last competency that we're going to look at under the CBC curriculum is what we call democracy and citizenship. Sasa hapa, it's not just mambo ya serikali as we know it. This is not chance. It could be, but it's not. It's about creating a child who understands, respects, and values their community. So it's about curating experiences for children to respect different tribes, to respect different cultures, to respect their environment, to want to do better for their community. So this is about building that citizen, actually, that child who understands that I am able to make my country better, I am able to make my community better. And so here, you find that if you're in a school that has already started implementing this competence, you'll find that children are told to go plant trees. There's a lot of work on, community work that they're told maybe to go and visit a children's home. There's a lot of that is happening at that level. So democracy and citizenship is begging the question. And remember now, this goes upper level. You cannot start asking a child at grade 1, maybe for example, questions around voting. But you find that one other key thing that we've noticed in most schools right now is student elections. Children are told to vie for elections. They're told to elect their student leaders. It's a way of building up that competency around democracy and giving them a chance to know that who they elect as one way of democracy is going to dictate or to determine their future. So a lot of the competence a lot of the work around democracy and citizenship is actually just to build that citizen, that ideal or model citizen. And this culminates now into what the competencies around CBC are. And as we've mentioned 7 of them so far, and those are the 7 core competencies of CBC. And so as we end there, I want you to ask yourself as a parent or as an educator, or for anybody who's watching, in what way can I empower the child next to me or the child around me, my niece, my nephew, my grandchild, any child around me, to be able to develop these competencies? Because these competencies are very important and have been said to be the way forward in the 21st century. We've done the 7 competencies, right? We've talked about communication, we've talked about collaboration, we've talked about creativity and imagination, critical thinking, and the works. We've also talked about citizenship and all the things that this curriculum envisions for our children. These competencies are super, super important for these children. It is important for us to try and instill in them through school, at home, in any way possible. You have to teach our learners these particular competencies, as they will guide them and make them survive or thrive in the 21st century. I want to give you a small thought process. If your child is born today in 2025, they will be 40 in 2065. What skills can you build with them right now that you think will create for them an opportunity to thrive when they're in their 40s? Those are some of the things that we need to think about when you're curating these competencies. But when you build a child who learns to learn, their curiosity will enable them to create and solve problems that will be there during their time. Some of us won't be, right? And so when we think about it, those competencies will enable them to thrive in their time. Just leave you with a small quote that says, we plant trees that we might not be able to enjoy the shade. So I close there, but I ask you, as we go to the next episode, which is going to talk about the senior secondary, if you have any questions, any comments, or any tips and tricks that you think we can be able to use as educators, as parents, to build the competencies in our children, I would love to hear from you. So leave your comment down below. And please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.